Indeed.
We can kind of just get right into it.
So Gaslight. Shall we summarize?
Gaslight is about a woman whose mother is murdered horrifically, and so she moves away from her London apartment, and while studying abroad and elsewhere in Europe, she falls in love with this very charming piano player, and they get married. And the piano player is like, "I would love to live in an apartment overlooking a town square," and she's like, "Funny you should say that. I happen to own an apartment overlooking a town square in London, but like FYI, I hate it there because of murders." But they go back there, they move back in, and immediately the woman, what's her name? See, this is why we should write down plot synopses. It's because I forget character names.
Ingrid Bergman.
Ingrid Bergman starts to, it's like it seems like she's getting forgetful. She's like there's like weird sounds around the house that no one else seems to be able to hear. But spoilers, it's all been suggested into her head because of her sinister new husband, who is actually both a murderer and a jewel thief? Question mark.
He did all of this to steal some jewels.
Right. But so all of this, all of Act Two is this big sort of her sort of descent into madness. But then the descent into madness is very quickly revealed to be uh entirely this guy's sort of like, she's not getting forgetful. He's stealing stuff from her and being like, "Oh, you forgot this. You forgot where you put it. Oh man, oh, I guess you better stay home." And he's doing a lot of psychological manipulation, so much so, and in such a this movie is such a textbook example that it has now become the verb for uh a specific type of manipulation, which is
You,
pretty
you
crazy.
you all know what gaslighting is.
I mean, do we don't have to explain what gaslighting is, right? I mean, if not, if anyone doesn't know what gaslighting is, I feel like listen to the rest of the conversation about the movie and that'll give you a clue.
I think that one of the interesting things actually is like the way that the term gaslighting as it exists today has somewhat diverged from the kind of specific way that it is implemented in this movie.
Right. I guess it is the way in which the movie uses it, or the character in the movie uses it, and then also the way in which I guess the verb was attached to that is I think a lot more specific, right, than it is used now. It's become a bit more of an umbrella term, or it's at least its definition has widened, I think.
I guess, yeah, the umbrella term being kind of like a type of psychological manipulation that is, sometimes almost passive, sometimes not even on purpose, of somebody kind of doubting, sowing seeds of doubt in another person's mind. My understanding, honestly, would be that most of the time that gaslighting happens, like gaslighting in this movie is this calculated Machiavellian thing in order to steal jewels, and
Mm.
and in reality, my understanding is that it's probably a bit more of like a natural outgrowth of certain manipulative people's like way of interacting with the world.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not the one to like speak on that as much as you, Sarah, as the
Yeah.
the brain expert of the show. Um, I do think of gaslighting as a pretty like specific, or not as a pretty like intentional thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think it would be hard to like accidentally gaslight someone, at least to the degree to which I don't know. I definitely think of gaslighting more in the sense of how it is in the movie than maybe like I do think gaslighting has maybe become a little bit overused where people do attribute it to things that aren't gaslighting, but
Hmm.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I
yeah.
think like in the popular use, it's kind of like anytime someone is not on the same page with someone else about what happened, like it's kind of used freely in that way, but I do think like true gaslighting would be like it's done very intentionally, like it's seen in the
Hmm.
movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess the like kind of core way I would define it is like convincing someone to mistrust their own uh senses
Yeah,
and like
perception,
and
memory.
reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
perception. There you go.
Did you see any kind of echoes of reality in this movie?
Yeah. Um, I think what's shown in the movie is pretty extreme. Like, it's extremely calculated. Um, but it's definitely like a common abuse tactic to like just deny that something happened. And like in particular, I think it's something that is often employed by like people with pretty significant psychological issues, like people with personality disorders and whatnot. Yeah, it's like a classic in the narcissist playbook, not to throw around another overused therapy word.
Yeah. I think it's interesting like how I mean cuz maybe speaking to more of that like subtle difference that this movie maybe what I was trying to get at is like gaslighting as it is applied now is sort of um trying to it feels a little bit more specific, right? There is an instance that you want to be able to like that you as like a gaslighter want to be able to rewrite the narrative on. And so you gaslight in order to rewrite that narrative. Where in this movie, it is not the gaslighting is not about any specific thing that he is gaslighting about. It is about just making her lose touch with reality so much that she just kind of crumbles and he can do whatever he wants, like steal jewels.
There is some amount of right because I mean the title comes from the her noticing that the gas lamps in the apartment are dimming, which the way that gas lamps work in the olden times is if you turned on lights in a different part of the house, the lights in the room you're in would dim because like the gas has to flow to a different part of the house. And so because the husband is upstairs in the attic looking for jewels, he's turning on the lamp up there and it's dimming the lights in Ingrid Bergman's room, and she's like, I
Right.
see the lights dimming, and both he and then also the maid that he hires are being like, no, I don't see any lights dimming. And so it is like somewhat to like cover up his illicit activities and to
Mhm.
make her, I guess, a kind of a less credible witness. But yeah, it's like part of an overall pattern to just sort of like isolate her and to make her uh, doubt her own sanity. Yeah.
I keep
Yeah.
returning to the jewel thing because like it feels like such a like this is such a Machiavellian like giant scheme, and then it's just like
Cartoonish.
I'm doing it to steal jewels. It's
Right.
like
And
Yeah.
also like to get into like the ending and like the all of the plot details of the movie, right? He seduces her in like his like music school, or like when she's in music school, because he knows that she lives in this apartment that has jewels in it. So then they move into the apartment, but then he doesn't even go into the attic through the apartment. He has to leave the apartment and climb up like over a roof through a different building to get into the attic anyway. So I'm like, why couldn't he have just gone to London, break into the attic and find the jewels? Why this
oh
entire
my
elaborate
god,
scheme?
oh my
That
god.
is a great question. That is a very good question.
Oh no, did you just cinema sin destroy this movie?
I may have. But I mean, the answer is because then the movie wouldn't happen. But yeah, it does seem like maybe a little bit too much of an elaborate plot for him to steal jewels. I also think the other thing that I think is kind of funny about that is going into the movie, and I think the way that I usually think of like gaslighting and sort of other types of psychological manipulation are about like control, like controlling someone, and sort of that's not really what this movie is about. Like it's kind of incidental. Like it's funny that like gaslighting happens especially like in like romantic pairings. It's very bad. Don't do it. But I think it's funny that it's like the end goal of this guy is to steal jewels and not just he's not just like a creep who like wants to control his wife, which is how I feel like most people would use gaslighting. He's doing it because he wants to steal jewels, which is such a 1940s movie reason to gaslight someone. it's like there's all these really intense, horrific stories of like this actually being done to people for like much pettier kind of like narcissistic reasons than jewel theft. So and just the fact that that's where this movie goes, it ends in this it's like all of this was just because he wants money.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess we have kind of found out in the way that the discourse has evolved in years past this movie and kind of used it as a reference point that a lot of people who participate in gaslighting almost do it for its own sake.
Right,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, add maybe the version today would be, a kind of character drama, but it wouldn't need the jewel thieving. It would just be about
Right.
like this
Yeah.
this person is manipulating someone else. Let's explore that.
But I mean, fun that it turns into a like jewel theft movie also.
I think it's fun too.
I thought one of like the most sinister things about it was that he kind of like recruited the maid as like a co-manipulator. Like I think there was even a scene in the beginning where like he like tried to turn her against the main character. Like he said something about her and then it like impacted the way that she treated her for the rest of the movie.
Mm,
Um
hmm.
and like having that other person there to also doubt the reality, like that to me was just incredibly sinister.
The maid played by Angela Lansbury,
Yeah.
BT Dubs, babyface Angela Lansbury. It's like weird to see Angela Lansbury not old
They
or young, I guess, as most people would say.
yeah,
Not
they
old.
Yeah,
she turned 18 while filming this, and they paused
Wow.
for a while and gave her a birthday celebration on set.
that's wild. Yeah, I think I have only ever seen Angela Lansbury in her like 50s or later.
I've only
So
seen
this
her as a teapot.
notable that she's in this movie. Um, yeah, playing a pretty like sinister character.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't necessarily even have like
A
any
motive.
any particular reason to do it. I mean, I feels like that he starts kind of trying to get her on his side by
Yeah.
like adding this kind of sexual tension energy, that maybe she is in the story like young and impressionable, and maybe also like somewhat inclined toward viciousness. And
I get this, like, I feel like it's kind of implied that he specifically sought out a like young horny
Yeah.
woman that he could manipulate.
Yeah.
seeking
Um,
young horny mean maid.
yeah, no, because it does seem like that he like chose her very specifically
Mhm.
as one like kind of as an accomplice, but also like someone that he could turn against. Ingrid Bergman, Paula is the character's name. And because then it's also like Angela Lansbury is like hitting on all the cops that are like on the
That's
beat
right. Yeah.
on the square, which then later on in the movie when Joseph Cotton's detective character is like on the case, he like recruits one of the like beat cops to be like, hey, are you married? No, great, come with me. Like this is your new beat, is this square. And so he gets sort of one of the constables to be sort of a honeypot to like distract the maid away.
And you say Joseph Cotton. We're continuing in our streak of Joseph Cotton movies.
100% Cotton. I'm gonna keep making that Scream 3 joke as much as humanly possible.
He was he was the bad guy last year, and he's the good guy this year.
Yeah, real whiplash. He's gone from best friend to murderer to detective in this.
Yeah, actually, Sarah, you have participated in the 100% Cotton marathon, because you watched Citizen Kane and Anatomy of a Fall. What is it called? The
Anatomy of a Fall.
the Hitchcock one. Shadow of a Doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who that is, but sure.
He was
Cotton.
He was the guy, the murderer in Shadow of a Doubt, the evil
Okay,
uncle.
gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, like he's been great in all of these, playing very different characters each time. So, if I didn't think so already, I feel like this run of like Joseph Cotton movies has definitely been like, oh yeah, he's very good.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was interesting as he sort of begins working on her, um, the movie, it's kind of interesting the way that the movie like depicts his strategy toward kind of breaking her down, right? Because like it begins with him just doing this like really subtle stuff to like make these scenarios where she's supposed to feel a little guilty. Uh
Mm,
and like it's not even necessarily him doing the gaslighting quite yet. He is just like trying to get her in a state where he can more easily manipulate her by giving her like a bunch of little things to make her feel like she owes him or like is indebted somehow.
right. There's one thing that it was just like really like skin crawling in this movie is the amount of times that he like gets her to apologize to him,
Mm.
which is just like, ugh, so it's so gross and awful. Where it's like he's like doing all this shitty stuff, and then he's like getting her to apologize to him for like calling him out on it.
Yeah, something that's sticking out in my mind. I don't know if this is what you were thinking about, Chris, but I think it was towards the beginning. Like he gives her the brooch, and then like he puts it in her bag, and they go out, and then he like takes the brooch out, and she thinks she lost it, and it's like this sentimental item. Like I think it was supposed to have belonged
Mm.
to someone in his family or something. And then when she realizes she lost it, she feels so terrible, and she's trying to hide it from him. And then eventually she tells him, she's like, "Oh, I lost this thing." And I feel like what's so sinister is that he's like, "Oh, it's okay." Like he
Yeah,
doesn't get
yeah.
mad at her.
Yeah. Well, he does get mad
He's
then. I feel like as the movie goes on, he starts to fly off the handle so easily, which
yeah,
is,
but
I
he's
guess,
just
is
like, "Oh,
another sort of like weird psychopath, like narcissist, abusive
yeah,
behavior thing. Is just like the switch from being like really nice and calm and comforting to like furious and like really dangerous seeming is like that was kind of a thing in Shadow of a Doubt also, right? Is like, oh, he's like charming one minute and then like at the drop of a hat will get like really intense.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like I think the subtle ways that he starts off, like I think is really interesting. Like I was also pretty shocked in that moment where like he says, "Oh, it's okay," and it's like, "Oh
yeah,
no,"
yeah." He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you shouldn't be so forgetful. Like you seem to be forgetting things more and more."
Yeah.
There's like another point where he kind of like deliberately in front of her is talking to, I forget who he's talking to, but then he's like, "Oh, your skin is so nice. You should give my wife some tips on how to have nice skin," right? And it's like all of this stuff to just like wear her down, and like it's really well written, I think, honestly, of like these
Yeah.
subtle things where it's like she isn't really able to say anything in response to it, but it just feels like subtly shitty in like a way that like it puts her in this extremely like uncomfortable awkward position.
You mentioned the writing. This is the I guess the second movie of Gaslight. It started as a play, and then there was a British film that we didn't watch for the show because it's sort of the lesser known and I guess less well liked. I'm curious kind of now to like watch that one and see how different it is.
I would like to too, yeah.
Because like Maltese Falcon also like that was the third movie of that story, but it's like the other two are like who cares about those? Like this is the like in terms of its like place in the culture, this is like the the pinnacle of what Gaslight has like has been as a story, I guess. At least in terms of popularity. I can't speak to the quality of the play or the subtle kind of character writing in this. I think is really really good, and that's like I feel like a thing that we started to see a little bit more of going into like the 40s is like the character writing in stuff has just been dialed in. I don't know. I feel like
Hmm.
Shadow of a Doubt and this both feel like they have a really strong understanding of like very subtle human behaviors and like
Hmm.
right they're both about these kind of like narcissistic characters And I don't know, it's interesting to see like the writing getting pushed forward as much as like the technical other stuff.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess like maybe you could say that characters were a bit more arch before. Um,
Yeah, not always, but like I do feel like I'm noticing a trend more towards like this style of performance and this style of writing. Whereas yeah, I think in the 20s it was like Caligari stuff. I mean, Caligari is a big example because that's like no movie is like that. But
unfortunately,
I know. Um but yeah, because I feel like I have similar thoughts to say about some of their movies that we watched for 1944 also. So I don't know, that feels like it's worth pointing out. Another thing I thought of while watching this is, are there any other movies that have like become a verb in the popular culture? There definitely aren't to the degree that this one has. Like I think I'm willing to guess that a lot of people that use the term gaslighting don't know that it either haven't seen this movie and or also probably don't even know that it came from a movie slash play.
yeah.
But like I think that's, I don't know, that seems very notable to me that this has like had such an effect, or like the specificity of like the manipulation in this movie is just like, oh no, let's just call it the thing from the movie. Let's just refer to it as gaslighting. I think the only other thing I can think of is Gone Girling, which I feel like is still kind of more of like an internet like jokey kind of shit
Wait,
posty
what
sort
is
of.
Gone Girling?
Gone Girling is faking your own disappearance and then blaming it on your romantic partner.
Yeah, that's a little less everyday than gaslighting, I guess.
Sure, yeah, it's true. Less people are gone girling every day than are gaslighting, probably. But
All the
that's
girls are
like
still here.
that is like the only other time I can think of like a movie title becoming a verb in the same way. And it's, yeah, it's like not, no one really says that outside of like jokey like film nerd people, I feel like.
The one movie title that has a much like a very outsized cultural influence compared to the movie is the Bucket List, which was
Actually, yeah, I
a
guess that's not
term.
really a
Oh,
It's
verb,
not a
but
verb,
yeah.
but it's like it's a term that was invented for a largely forgotten mid 2000s
Right.
Rob Reiner movie,
Yeah.
and then it just became a thing that everyone says.
Right. I think
wow.
similarly, like I think most people that say bucket list at this point aren't aren't saying it as like a reference to the film Bucket List. It's just like a word that they know,
Yeah.
I had no
or a
idea
term.
that was a
Yeah.
thing. I didn't know that that film existed.
Yeah. But
It's
Jack
called the Bucket
Nicholson
List.
and Morgan
Morgan
Freeman,
Freeman.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't
And
seen
they're
the
like,
movie.
we're gonna go skydiving because we're old.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where the term came from, though?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. What? That's so confusing to me.
It's a movie from like 2007, and like honestly I don't think that many people saw it. It's just that they explain enough of the concept in the trailer, which is
Hmm.
how I got the meaning that
Yeah.
it's just like, oh yeah, what's on your bucket list?
It's the premise of the movie is that they make
Yeah,
a list.
Wow.
Yeah.
one in the great pantheon of list movies.
Let let's not bring up list movies again.
Again?
Towards the end of the movie, when uh Joseph Cotton is like in the apartment and the lights dim, and Ingrid Bergman is like, "Oh, the lights!" And then Joseph Cotton is like, "Hey, what's up with the lights that are dimming?" And she's like, "Oh, you saw it too!" And it's like,
Yeah.
it's such a like a huge relief, even though like we
Yeah.
know at this point in the movie that it's like what's going on. It's still just for her to have that realization of just like, oh my god, it wasn't just me. And then she
Yeah,
like goes and like finds all the stuff that he had
Yeah.
like stolen and hidden away, and said that like there's the letter that he like locked away and was
Mhm.
like, oh, you never found a letter. And she finds the letter and she's like, oh, it's real. It's
yeah,
like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like such a triumphant moment.
yeah. It's really intense, and you get to like feel her emotions with her while you're watching it.
Yeah. Ingrid Bergman, good at her job, turns out.
Yeah. And then when at the end when he's like tied up in the attic and he's like, "Oh, cut me free." And she's like, "I don't know, this knife might not exist. I'm crazy, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
might be imagining this."
Like, yeah, I legitimately kind of wanted her to like stab him to death in that scene, but I got why. I think that was against the Hays Code. So
Yes, it was.
Right.
Uh, I guess one last thing about this movie is that it was a kind of puzzle piece in me finally realizing that uh when there are a lot of situations where I've heard British people say the word ma'am, and I thought they were saying the word mom.
Mm.
they're saying "ma'am" like "marm"
Like
Yeah.
they're
if we're
like
really gonna
mum,
anglicize.
mum,
Mom?
hello mum.
Yeah.
And like I legitimately like thought that James Bond was calling M mom, and I was like, that's really weird, but I guess that's what they do.
But that's also like that kind of is the subtext in some of those movies. Also, it's like it's not that far off.
And
So
like it was only pretty recently that like it was like within the last month or two where I was like, oh, they are saying ma'am.
yeah. Or
And
yeah, yeah.
I was kind of slowly coming to that realization. I think this movie kind of unlocked it a little bit for me.
Mm, mm. Yeah, very British this movie, despite not being a British production.
It's so weird that it was like a British movie, and then they're like, let's make an American remake of it. And it's just like, okay, it's
We're
also
still
in
in London.
England. Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
what's the
I
point?
I I do kind of get the sense like that does still happen, but I think that happens a lot less now because it is like internet movies just play internationally now, like without much
I mean, there's nothing
care,
stopping a British Gaslight movie from playing in America. This movie played in England, and they had to retitle it in order to not confuse it with the other Gaslight movie.
That I mean, that is very weird, but I do think this is a good example of like the possibly ill-conceived American remake, like unnecessary American remake.
Hmm.
Even though I think this is considered the better of the two, having not seen the British one. Um, yeah, it is kind of like we already have one of these. Like, do we need to do it again? And like the
We
other
have
Gaslight
Gaslight
is
at
from
home.
like 1935, right? It's like not even that far. It wasn't even that old when this came out.
It
But
might have been 38. No, the play came out in 38. The previous movie
oh yeah,
was
dang.
1940.
Wow, yeah. So just 4 years, and they're like, we can do it better. We
I
got
mean,
we
some of
got
the
Ingrid
Maltese Falcon
Bergman.
movies were closer. So,
Yeah, I think
Wow.
yeah, it's true. Right, I
Weird.
think there was like a 34 and a 37 or something like that. Whatever. Yeah, Gaslight. Pretty good movie. I thought.
mhm, mhm.
Real moody, real spooky. Um and yeah, like not surprisingly, but I think it stands out for its sort of like I guess like psychological intensity.
Yeah. I haven't been watching as many old movies as you guys, but I feel like the psychological angle is something that I haven't seen much until now.
Hmm. When you say it's
Yeah.
like the kind of
Like
what do you?
the whole driving force of the movie, it's a psychological drama. Like that is what
Yeah.
is at the center of it. And I haven't seen any other old movies like that. This is the first one.
Hmm. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I feel like there are movies that have kind of maybe similar levels of interiority, but maybe like less similar of an amount of focus on interiority.
Yeah.
Mm,
Like
Yeah.
one of the notable things about Citizen Kane, I think, is like how much it is about like what is going on in the interiority of the characters. Um,
mm.
but it's definitely not like a psychodrama like this.
No.
I
Yeah.
also feel like a lot of psychodramas in like early film uh tend to be a little bit more kind of cranked up or kind of wackier. I don't know. Like I'm thinking about like I do think
It's
Caligari
melodramatic.
is
Mm.
a like psychodrama, but it's just a like nightmare psychodrama that is like about somnambulism and like weird angles and stuff. Um, Like I kind of think of Cat People as a kind of a psychological drama also, but then it's like, what if she also turned into a panther and eat people?
I mean, doesn't that just make every movie better to have creatures in it?
If you ask me, yes, all movies should have creatures in them. But yeah, it's like very straightforward, just like psychological drama, or thriller. This is sort of like it's leaning into, I think, what a more modern understanding of what that genre is than, yeah, I think a lot of other stuff
Yeah.
that at least we've watched for the show.